Welcome to Worth the Effort Chair Yoga with yoga and conversation leader Darcie Clark. All Worth the Effort sessions are an opportunity for athletes and coaches to meet up and discuss techniques and tools that will help them in training and gameplay. In this session, Darcie Clark, adaptive yoga teacher from Toronto, Ontario, leads us through a chair yoga practice and discusses the impact yoga can have in our sport-specific training. Specifically, we learn how in moments of stress, yoga techniques can help us relax and reorient our thoughts. Unique to this session, we've included footage of the chair yoga practice led by Darcie Clark so that viewers can follow along. Enjoy listening. Welcome everyone to tonight's Worth the Effort. Tonight's theme is chair yoga. And it is our first time actually kind of outsourcing for Worth the Effort. I'm not a yogi, so obviously we've reached out and found Darcie, who actually is from Toronto, so from Ontario, which is pretty cool. And she also already works with persons with disabilities within yoga. So I thought it was the perfect matchup because she already has experience. With that, I'll pass it off to Darcie, and thank you so much for joining us, Darcie.
Thank you, Juliana. It was a pleasure getting your invitation, and also a super pleasure to learn about boccia, because, of course, I had no idea what it was. And I have since, had fun learning more about the sport and watched videos of Paralympic athletes competing, and it looks super fun. So it's great to learn about that sport and to meet a few people who play it as well. Tonight, I thought we'd do a little bit of a yoga practice, some movement in the upper body as a way. So for me, yoga is about mindful movement. So moving in a way that enhances our awareness, our sensory awareness of our body, of our ability to move and our capabilities of movement. And, I think for many of us, yoga in the sort of, as it's presented in the mainstream media, is very much about form and shape, right? So we'll often see a very long-limbed, athletic, build body, very able-bodied person in a very difficult posture, right, on the cover of a magazine. So, some, sort of schools of yoga emphasize that form aspect of yoga. And for me, it's much more about function and feeling. So my approach to the practice, I've been teaching yoga since 2006, and I've been teaching chair yoga since 2007, working with people, of various ages and abilities, people who use different mobility aids, since that time. And for me, my emphasis on the practice is about feeling our way through the practice, exploring our movements, and sensing and learning more about our movements. And it's in this practice where we're not so much concerned about putting or placing our body into this, shape and puzzle piece. So getting a sense of, just letting that go, that sort of striving, cookie cutter form of yoga, and getting more interested in how we move and how we can still move, and how, as we practice, what we start to learn about our bodies. And, we might learn How maybe we have certain holding patterns or habits in our movements that might not be serving our, goals as well as we would have hoped. So we maybe will learn, okay, there's something we could change here, or if I do it in this way where I just move things a little differently, it feels better. And then also, as we move in ways where we're more mindful and aware of ourselves, we can also get a sense of how our body and our mind and our breath are moving as one, are together as one, and how each of those components of ourselves affects the other. So, for instance, breath is affected by our movements, and our movements are affecting the breath. So in tonight's practice, we're going to, keep some awareness on our breath as we're moving. And I'll take you through a bit of a practice where we're going to start in just a few minutes at the beginning, a short sort of opening of our practice. And I like to start each class that I teach in this way where we just take a bit of time to center ourselves and become conscious of the breath and how we feel in this moment before we then start moving. So we're going to start moving we're going to make our way moving down from the head to the arms, shoulders, and spine eventually. Okay, so focusing mostly on the upper body today. And I'll also invite you, if there is any particular movement that you're unable to physically do, then I invite you to try to visualize yourself doing the movement. So you could do that by either closing your eyes or just lowering your gaze and letting it soften. So you may be moving your eyes away from the screen after you've figured out what we're doing. And really trying to visualize yourself moving in that way, if you'd like. That's an invitation you can choose to accept for yourself, because much research has been done, especially more recently, showing that visualization has its own benefits rather than just the physical movement of the practice. So that's a nice way to do a practice if you can't do any particular movement. Okay, nice. Okay, so I invite you all to begin where you are. And, getting as comfortable as you possibly can in the position you're in. My cats might come in and out every now and then and peek their heads up. But no, you cannot come on my lap. Silly. Okay. So there might be a cat on my lap, but we'll see. So I invite you to just get as comfortable as you can. And you can choose to close your eyes. You can choose to soften your gaze away from the screen. Whatever helps you, start to just tune in to your body. And, eventually letting go of some of the distractions around you. Whatever those distractions may be, visual, auditory, just notice them. Just maybe acknowledge them for a moment. And then try to come into your body a little more. And one way to do that is to focus and start to sense the areas of your body that are making contact with your support. Whether that's the ground, whether that's the chair or the bed, whatever it is right now for you, feel the points of contact your body is making with the support underneath you or behind you. And just see if you're able to feel that contact a little more. Kind of allow your body to settle and soften into that support that's under you. So gradually doing your best to let go of any sense of holding within the body as best you can. Feeling also where any parts of your body are resting on your body. So if you happen to have your hands or your arms resting somewhere on your body, feel that as well. Sensing into touch. Okay, and then let's turn our attention as we continue to sense our body resting here. Let's start to turn our attention to the breath. The breath is always with us. It's always moving. And of course, it's always changing, right? Depending on what we're doing in the moment, our physical activity, how we feel in the moment, our mental state, emotional state, our stress level, time of day. So what is the nature of your breath as it is right now? Just do your best to feel the inhale moving into your body, whether it's coming in through the nose or the mouth. And feel the exhale as the breath leaves your body, whether it's leaving through the nose or the mouth. Sometimes when we start to pay attention to the breath, our mind wants to interfere and we want to start controlling the breath or quote unquote improving the breath. And just see if you can set those urges aside and let yourself simply feel your inhale as it comes in and feel your exhale as it moves out. Really nice. Let's maybe just take our awareness now to settle somewhere around the chest, around the heart, around the lungs. As you settle your focus and awareness here, can you sense any movements in this area as you breathe? You're not trying to make movement happen. It might be quite subtle. It might be quite obvious. Notice what it is for you. With each inhale and with each exhale. And then let's bring our awareness even further down now. So into the rather large space, right, of our belly. So just under our ribs, above our navel, to below the navel, the lower belly, and everything in between, navel, waist, whole belly area. Can we sense that space? And this is often a space of holding for many of us. So notice how this area feels for you. Does it feel tight and held? Does it feel relaxed and soft? Either way, just let it be what it is. And see if you can start to notice how your belly will move with the inhale. Sense how your belly moves with your exhale. Okay, and now little by little, we're going to start to maybe see if you can deepen your inhales a little bit, deepen your breaths. And that might help you start to kind of re-energize and reawaken. So finding as deep of a breath as you comfortably like, and then letting it out. Maybe one more like that. And starting to tune in, turning your attention now back out into the space around you, hearing the sounds around you as you stay with that bit of a deeper breath. And then once you feel ready, if your eyes are closed, let them flutter open. And maybe just look around your space. So you start to, again, just tune in to the space around you. You can move your eyes, move the head if you want, and just, if you notice the colors you see, you might name the colors you see. Nice. All right. And then we'll come back to center, wherever that center space is for you. I'm just going to make this a good gallery view so I can see you all. All right. So let's begin tonight with some movements in the eyes. As I was watching boccia being played, I was noticing, okay, there's lots of, obviously there's a target and you need to see that target as you're pushing or throwing the ball towards it. So let's go ahead and exercise our eyes a little bit tonight. So let's start out by finding the movement up and down with the eyes. So, you can, let's do it together. So try to look up without lifting your head or your chin as much as you can, and then look down with the eyes without lowering your head as best you can. So looking up and looking down. And just feel that a couple more times, trying your best to just find the pace that lets you do this without getting dizzy as best you can. And if you do get dizzy, just pause at any time, looking ahead. Okay? Can you be aware of your breath as you're looking up and looking down? And then let's look side to side. Again, trying your best not to move the head. So as you look to the one side and then look to the other. And just a few times. And as you concentrate on this movement, see whether you're holding your breath. And can you let it flow a little freer? Aware of the inhale and aware of the exhale. Okay, and then come back to center with your eyes. And then you have options for this one. What we're going to do is look out in front of us at an object. You could do it in several ways. You could look at, even look at the screen if you wanted in front. Something, at least kind of an arm's length away from you. You could even do that and lift your hand or have the hand resting wherever it happens to be on your body. And find a target on your hand. So choose a target to look at that's further forward of you, of your head and face. Okay. And then let's look at the nose. So look ahead at your object and then look again at the nose. And as you keep doing that, looking forward at your target, looking back at your nose, you're going to notice that you're looking mostly, right, at one side of your nose. Whichever side that is, it's likely your dominant eye. So for me, I am right-eyed dominant. You might have realized in your playing which eye is dominant for you. So just feeling that a few more times on your dominant side. Okay. And then this is maybe a little bit of like a brain, exploding moment so that we can now try to look at the other side of the nose. So find your target, the same target looking away from you, and then looking at your nose, trying your best to look with your other eye. So now you're going to be looking at the other side of your nose. So for me, that's the left side of my nose, and it's a lot harder. So just pay attention. Feel how your breath moves as you concentrate on these eye movements. Really nice. Okay. And then we'll come back to center. You might just kind of move the eyes, flutter the eyelids, look around, anything that helps you just try to focus again. Whew, lovely. Okay. Now let's envision that we have maybe, well, anything at all, a pencil out of your nose or a, laser pointer or a magic marker in whatever color you want. And we're going to try to draw a circle in front of us with our nose. Okay. So just feel these little bit of movements now coming into the head and neck. So your circle can be any size. We're going in one direction a few times, continuing to notice the inhale and feel the exhale. Yeah, visualize yourself drawing that shape. Maybe you realize it's not much of a circle. Maybe it's more of this trapezoid shape, right? So notice, what shape is your movement? Okay, and then we're going to go in the opposite direction. So take your time to pause for a moment. And when we switch directions, the second direction usually is a little trickier. It's the less familiar movement. Feels perhaps a little more awkward, right? So find the range, the size of movement that's feeling comfortable in this direction. Could be different. What does the shape look like for you as you imagine that marker or laser pointer out your nose, drawing with it? Very good, everyone. Really nice. Excellent. And then come on back to center again. So now let's get a little more movement going in the neck. Envisioning now a light out the top of our head. So just noticing where that light shines for you, whether it's to the sky or ceiling above you or the wall in front of you, wherever that happens to be. And again, choose a color if you want. Choose all the colors of the rainbow if you want. And now let's draw the circle with our head so that light shines out the top of our head. And we're drawing the circle around our room. So we're letting the head bob around. Over to one side, forward, over to the other side and back. And you're finding your own comfortable shape of movement, size of movement. Okay. All the while, can you feel your inhale? Feel your exhale. Really nice. Excellent, everyone. And then once again, we're going to pause in the center and switch the direction. And just, you might start with a smaller circle in this direction, right? Smaller, perhaps a little slower, just to notice, okay, how does it feel in this side? You might notice different areas of the neck speaking to you, going, ooh, feeling a little tight there, or a good stretch here. Yeah. And you can continue to feel those movements at whatever pace feels good for you right now. Wonderful, everyone. Love it. It's great. Okay, and then come on back to center with the head. And then just maybe take a moment to pause and just notice how things are feeling, up here through the neck, head, eyes. Maybe you can sense that area a little differently now, having brought your attention and movement into those areas. Really good. Okay. So now I invite you to find movement in the arms. So I'm going to move both arms, but of course you're welcome to move if you have one arm that moves more easily than the other that you'd rather just move. Feel free to. If you have an assistant to help you move, of course, we can let that come into play. So we can start out with the arms resting wherever they happen to be, sort of beside us, whether they're on our thighs, on our armrests, or outside of the chair. So let's begin by moving the arms forward and then down and back. So we're kind of swinging our arms forward and back. That's it. And so here, you can start to find whatever range of movement is feeling good. So how high do you want to lift your arms? How high do you want to reach them back? Or how far do you want to reach them back? That's it. And, what determines that movement, obviously, is how things are feeling in the shoulders, right? And if it feels good to go further, by all means, give it a try. If it feels good to stay where you are, stay where you are. Now, as we continue to feel these movements happening in our arms, can we sense the breath? Can we find a rhythm to breathe along with our movements? So maybe we're taking 2 breaths to lift our arms forward. Maybe we're taking 2 breaths to bring our arms back. Maybe you're breathing a little slower. Let's see if you can sense the breath as you feel these movements. 2 more times. Really good. And then this time, let's bring the arms as high up as you want in front of you. That's it. They could be overhead. They could be out in front, eye level, anything at all. Okay. And now see if you can lift your chest a little bit and lift your eyes up further. So we're just finding a tiny bit of extension into our spine. That's it. A little bit of an arch. 1 more breath. Let's sense the breath here. Wonderful, everyone. Good. And then lower the arms and rest and do any little wiggles, any little shakes, any little movements you want right now just to loosen into wherever you need it. Okay, really good. And then we're going to find movement in the arms in a different way. We're going to take them out to the sides and then back towards us. Okay, so feel for yourself how the arms want to move in this way. Moving out, away from your sides, and then moving back in towards your sides. That's it. Really lovely. You got it. Just feel what is moving in your body. Can you sense where the movement is coming from in yourself? And how your breath falls into a pattern as you move. Aware of the inhale. Great. Aware of the exhale. Really nice, everyone. Lovely. And then again, this time we're going to take the arms out just as far as feels good. So maybe as high as shoulder height, anything in between, right? And whatever the furthest part of your body is out away from you, whether it's your elbows or the fingertips, feel that area of your body reaching further out, like it wants to touch the side of the room. That's it. And let's pause and sense that space that we feel here across our chest, maybe. Really nice. Wonderful, everybody. Then let that go. Release the arms. Whew. And maybe just again, maybe do a little shake and wiggle of the shoulders if you want. Release into the arms, anything at all to let that go and relax and soften. Good. All righty. Now let's find 3 different movements we're going to combine and sort of move in a sequence. For the arms, maybe with a little more elbow movement this time, if possible. So let's start like this, with the elbows bent, and then we're going to send the arms. If you like, you can try to feel like you're pushing your arms out in front of you as far as you can take it, and then pull it back. And then we're going to try to push out to the sides as far as you like. and then bring it back in. Great. And then we're going to go up. So push up as high as feels comfortable. Maybe it's head height, maybe it's over the head. Feel what your arms want to do right now, and then bring it down again. So we're going to repeat that. Push forward, pull back, push out. Excellent. Pull it back in. Great. Push up as high as you like, and then pull it back down. Really nice. Push in front. Feel your breath. Letting these movements just flow into the next, out to the sides, back in, up, over, and back down. Let's go for one more push. Forward, pull it back. Feel the breath. Push out, pull it back. Push up, stretch the arms, and pull it down. All right. Last one, let's actually go back up. Let's push. I think we were enjoying that one. Yes. And so now just feel your arms as high as you want to take them and see if you can lift your gaze again. This is a nice sort of opening, spacious stretch for the body. Really nice, everybody. Fantastic. Wonderful. Take it down. And then again, just take a moment to pause. Notice how you're feeling right now in your shoulders, in your breath. Let's come back to sense the breath. How has it changed as we pay attention to the inhale and pay attention to the exhale? Nice. All right. So now I invite you to find a little more movement into your spine as much as we can here. I'm going to just maybe show you a little bit of this side view. So we start in our sitting posture, whatever that happens to be, just feeling that for you. And then we're going to start to round our back a little more, meaning we're going to pull in through our front. It's almost like we're trying to push our back towards the back of our chair or the couch, whatever you're on. And then while you're there, let your chin come towards your chest so your head falls forward a little bit. So this is probably a little more of, what we're used to, the posture of, kind of rounding forward. And then let's try to find the opposite. So what you can imagine is maybe like a string on your chest, lifting up, 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 up. So this way we can lengthen a little more into the front, lift the chest, and then lift the gaze comfortably too. So let's move from those two movements. So rounding our back as we pull in through the front, our head can release forward. That's it. And then we lift the chest, lengthen the belly, and let the head follow, looking up if you like. And then again, rounding the back, like you're trying to push the back ribs mid-back to the wall behind you. And then lift the chest, like maybe a spotlight on the chest now, shining a little higher. So let's feel that a few times. On the exhale, we can round our back. If you want to try the breath, feel the inhale as you lift your chest, looking up. Exhaling when we round and stretch our back. Inhaling when we lift and open the front. Let's feel two more of those. Go at your own pace. Getting as much or as little movement as you can feel here in the spine. Again, feeling free to visualize yourself doing these. Really nice. And then return to center, that familiar, comfortable center point for yourself. Okay. And then, so that's two ways of moving the spine. Let's go into some side bending. Right? So I noticed, if you happen to throw the ball with your arm, I noticed a bit of a side lean to throw towards the target, the white ball. So we can get into our sides a little bit. And of course, we have a dominant side, and then we tend to lean in one direction more than the other. So let's see about leaning in each direction here as best we can. And if you'd rather just stay with the one direction, that's your choice too, to make. So let's start. We can again let the arms rest wherever they are, whether they're on the armrests, beside us, or on our lap. Let's start by maybe bringing the right ear towards the right shoulder if possible, and then leaning over to that side. Yeah. And then come on up, slowly stacking yourself to center again. And then try it if you like to take it to the other side. So the left ear moves towards the shoulder, and then we shorten that side waist. Really great. And then making your way slowly back up. So I like to visualize the vertebrae in the spine, kind of like links in a chain, one on top of the other. And they're moving over to the side, shrinking that one side, and then stacking back up, and then over to the other. And just, keep going side to side. You might notice, right? One side you can bend quite easily into, and the other side, maybe not as far, not as much. This is okay. Really good. Excellent. All right, and then we're going to come back upright to center. And after that, maybe bringing your awareness into the sides of your waist or side ribs, and just getting a sense of how those areas feel in your body, having wokened them up. Wokened? With movement there. Okay, great. Last one, and then we're going to come into our final closing practice here. So you're all doing great. We're going to find, as best we can, some twisting. So twisting can be done in just the head, right? We can turn the head in each direction. So we might start with that. Turning to look over one shoulder, and then turning to look over the other shoulder. However far the neck comfortably goes. Yeah, you never want to force the movement, right? Just being kind to yourself. And then if you want, you can envision again that spotlight. I like spotlights tonight, out of the center of your chest. And we're going to try to move that spotlight a little to one side and then a little to the other side, so that we can try to move a little more from the rest of our spine, from lower down. And again, if you'd rather just keep it in the neck, let that happen for yourself. Choosing to shine that spotlight on your chest, off to one side and off to the other side. Really nice. And you might notice one side you can twist a little farther than the other side. Perfectly normal. Really nice, everyone. Let's come back to center. So all that back work might have, you might notice things are feeling a little tired in your back. So let's end with a bit of a forward bend. And as we come forward, you can come forward as much or as little as feels good. You could have your hands resting on your thighs or the chair. You could bring your forearms to rest on your thighs if you want to take it that far. And you could even let your head, if you like, release forward a little more. And then while it's there, find some very gentle movements in the neck just to loosen into that part of your body. That's it. Yeah. You might even kind of sway your upper body a little side to side here, getting more into your back. Just getting a sense of maybe when we're forward like this, we can sense the breath moving into our back ribs, our back body. In fact, most of our lungs are in the backs of our ribs. So see if you can sense the breath into that space. Really nice. And then when you're ready to come back up, bring yourself to center. Use your hands if you like, right, for support, pressing down into your legs or your chair to help you come on back up, right? Take your time. Excellent, everyone. Great. And then let's close our practice with a bit of a breath visualization. So again, just let yourself settle into your seat here, comfortably resting into the support that's underneath you again. Right? You can lean back into the back support. You can rest and relax into what is holding you here so that you can hold less in your own body. You can relax and rest your hands or your arms in whatever comfortable position you like. And once again, you could close your eyes or soften your gaze. So as we once more connect with our body, resting here, noticing maybe any new sense of awareness of different areas of the body now. We did quite a bit of movement in the arms and shoulders today, in the head and neck. And also start to notice any change in the quality of your breath as you once again be aware of the inhale moving in and be present with the exhale moving out. And where can you sense the breath moving most easily in your body right now? That might feel like a sense of expansion with your inhale and a sense of a softening or release with your exhale. Where do you feel the breath moving your body? However subtle, however slight it may be. And wherever that is for you, if you like, you can work with this visualization of a balloon inside you. At wherever that point is for you, could be your chest, could be just under the ribs, could be the belly, anywhere at all. Let that balloon sit there inside you, whatever color it may happen to be. And with each inhale, can you visualize that balloon growing larger, expanding, right? Inflating. And with each exhale, can you visualize that balloon growing smaller, shrinking, softening back in? So breathing in, the balloon inflates. Breathing out, the balloon gets smaller as we let out the breath. And let's stay with that visualization, if you like, here for a few more cycles of breath. And then once again, let's begin to invite the breath to deepen, right? Sometimes when we enter these states, we start to get sleepy. So we can start to energize ourselves with that somewhat deeper, perhaps quicker breath. bringing our focus back into the space around us and just sensing the room, hearing the sounds around you, letting the eyes open if they're closed. And I thank you all for joining tonight. It's really great to see your faces on the screen and to move with you. It's been my pleasure tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you. Namaste.
So a lot of you have joined us before for the Worth the Effort series. This one is a little bit different than the past, just because we're actually actively engaging you instead of just having a conversation. But I do want to open the floor to sort of just chat. I do want to just get us going on this. What are ways that we could implement or incorporate yoga into our own fitness routines? Do you have any guidance on that?
Yeah. I think moving. So I think, first of all, centering in on the breath as often as possible while you're, doing your training is really great. So noticing if you're holding the breath or seeing if you can sort of find your breath, maybe a little more rhythmic with your movements, so that you stay aware of both the breathing and your movements or whatever exercise you're doing in that moment, the breath. And in terms of other things, I think, the eye exercise is actually really great. The one that we did with, looking at the one side of the nose and then ahead of us and then looking back at the one side and then trying it with the other eye. So you're trying to train both eyes to, learn how to focus on an object is quite useful for boccia training, I would think.
No matter if you're a thrower or you're a ramper, practicing that specific skill is definitely necessary. So that was really, really interesting.
Yeah, totally.
I will open the floor a little bit. Does anyone have a question? I have a bunch, but I want to open it up.
I just really have a comment. I really did like the eye movements because you can incorporate, anybody can do a yoga when you incorporate eye movement, right? There's no limitations then. We've done yoga a lot with our club, and I never thought to use eye movement, and that can include everybody, right? So it's a really good idea.
So
Wonderful.
My next question is, during some higher stress moments, so specifically when some of the athletes are on court, I was curious to know if you have any techniques to center themselves in that type of moment. So not in the relaxing area of their own homes, but somewhere that doesn't feel familiar to them. They're a little more stressed out and they're on a time clock. How can they do something to quickly get themselves centered?
Yeah, so there are different techniques that you can use. So maybe I'll touch on a couple. So one is tuning into the breath and maybe trying to slow it down. So start trying to count your breath, noticing what that count is, whatever it is, whether it's a count of 2 on the inhale and 3 on the exhale, or, a count of 5 on the inhale and 4 on the exhale, whatever that count is. And of course, it depends on how fast you're counting, but, it's going to be you, and that's going to be the sort of factor. And so, whatever that count is, you can start to lengthen that count by 1. So if your count is 2 for the inhale, try to inhale for 3 instead, and do the same on the exhale. Try to lengthen the count of your exhale by 1 number. So it's not so much of a lengthened breath that you start to, gulp and, gulp for air and, strain. It's just about slowing it down just a tiny bit. And that can help you get into more of a parasympathetic state of mind, where the relaxation response sort of kicks in and gets rid of that stress response in the body. So slowing down your inhale and slowing down your exhale just by 1 count is a nice way in. Another way to kind of center yourself is to, again, come back to that sensory awareness. So get a sense, okay, can I feel where my feet are right now? Can I feel where my legs are resting into the support that's under me right now? Can I feel where my hands are resting on my body right now? Can I feel where the back or the back of the head is resting into the support behind me? And so getting yourself to just feel where you are and sense your body in space is a good way to tune in and just sort of zone what's happening out around you. And one more thing I'll say is that looking around your space. So maybe, choosing to look for a particular color in your space. So looking for anything that is orange and, finding that and going, okay, that's orange. That's orange. That's orange. So it's just a way for you to kind of focus your attention on something other than perhaps, nerves or, things like that. So looking around your space and naming what you see, whether it's a color or a texture, things like that.
I want to ask the group, do you see even some of the practices we did tonight being implemented into what you do, or even some of the stuff that Darcie just actually mentioned about the centering in the moment? Do you see it being applicable?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. For sure.
How would you guys, and again, I just want to open up the conversation, how would you try to implement some of this?
I don't know how many of you pay attention to me on the court, but I do count. I count as I breathe just to make sure that as I start playing, it's weird because especially if I start winning, I start like almost hyperventilating. So I have to, because I'm getting excited, right? I actually count my breath to make sure I can slow myself down and calm down a little bit so that I don't make a mistake because I'm so excited.
The stress response of your body when you're getting too excited. Yeah, absolutely.
Because many of us have CP and our bodies tend to, like, when we get excited, we tighten up so much. So It's very important to stay relaxed, right?
I'm trying to stay relaxed.
Yeah.
Good job.
So we're talking more like a yearly training plan or even just more competition training plan season. Do you see this as being something that, like, okay, on Mondays, I will go to a court and throw, and Tuesdays, I will do yoga, and Wednesdays, I will do some strength and conditioning? Like, do you see it being something that you could implement in that way?
Actually, do I feel that planning to take Monday to do like the and loyal to get back on the court and know what I've done it's different when we play at home.
Yeah, so the fact that we've been playing at home to get back on the court and everything, this is a good option to be doing.
I also like the idea, I never really thought about it, which I'm very much a visualization person, and I never really thought about using that in yoga, which, I mean, I do a lot of yoga classes with seniors because the gym I go to is for disabled people and seniors. So I do a lot of yoga with a mixed group of people, and I never really thought about just for the leg movements, just visualizing myself doing it rather than trying to struggle to do it. So I think I'll use that when I go to classes. That's
great.
Darcie, you don't know where we sort of left off in the last with the effort, but it was honestly the best next one, I think, based off of where our conversation left off. Tiffany actually ran our last one, and it was on mindfulness and sort of meditation practices and how to center yourself, and you kicked us off right back into that. And how to
that's so great.
Yoga, honestly, the perfect transition. So I'm really happy with how that worked. I guess I just want to really thank you, and I thought it was lovely and you were really awesome.
if you have any final words, I'll give you the floor for a moment here.
As I cough. Yeah, I'm just so pleased that, this group is doing as much as you're doing. It's so awesome. And yeah, it's amazing to know that, some of you do yoga and, or you've been talking about mindfulness and centering, and it's just wonderful. And it's music to my ears, really. Final words are just, keep at it. I'm curious. I'm going to keep watching you in your competitive endeavors, and all the best. Good luck. And yeah, I'm happy to come back anytime.
Again, I want to thank Darcie. So thank you so much again. And if we can just give her a little bit of a clap or snap or anything else. Thank you so much. You were wonderful.
Thank you all. Thanks for being here and participating.
That's so great. I'll leave it there. And again, have a great night, everyone. And I hope the yoga is going to make you fall asleep. And
hope you sleep well tonight.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, Darcie.
Thanks for including us.
You're welcome.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, Jill.
Bye.
Thanks, Darcie.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
You're welcome.
Good to see you, Josh.
OCPSA would like to thank Darcie Clark for leading this conversation. We would also like to thank all the athletes and coaches that participated in this discussion. If you have a topic that you would like to discuss on Worth the Effort, let us know by commenting on this video or messaging OCPSA.